Well, instead of hypothetically sketching for you how it might be done, let me tell you and your audience how it is in fact being done right now in the United Kingdom, where a political party, the Labour Party, captured by the Bernie Sanders of England, a guy named Jeremy Corbyn, here is their policy. Any business in England, if they win the election, this is the law as they will change it. Any business in England can continue as it is now. But if it decides to close, or if it decides to sell itself to another business, or if it decides to become a stock company by doing an initial public offering and so on, it will be required by the law to have a right of first refusal to sell the business to the workers in it, so it becomes a workers' co-op. And that way they see a transition happening quite quickly in which businesses that were run top-down hierarchical capitalist become instead worker co-ops. And if you're wondering, where will the workers get the money to buy the company? The Labour Party in England proposes that's where the government comes in. It will lend private enterprises, owned and operated democratically by workers, the money to pay back over time so that you can convert an economy into one in which the decisions are made by the workers themselves. Final point. If you want an economy to work for the people, you finally have to bite the bullet and put the people in charge. Co-ops are the way to do that. Staying with capitalism is the way to avoid doing it.
I get that will solve some of the problems. For example, if workers own their own factory, they're not going to vote to send their jobs to China. But would it still, isn't it possible that a worker-owned factory would still vote to maybe pollute a river to make a bunch of profit? Would workplace democracy stop that kind of exploitation?
I think so. I think the reason is also very clear to see. Nowadays, when you're discussing a new technology that might pollute the air or the water, the decision is made by the major shareholders and the board of directors, a tiny group of people who typically live in gated communities in a lovely leafy residence far away from the factory or the office or the store that pollutes. So they can make the investment in the new technology and reap the profits, while the workers and the communities where the production facilities are located breathe the bad air, drink the bad water, and so on. If the workers who live and work and depend on the enterprise made the decisions, they wouldn't do it that often because they're the ones that breathe the air and drink the water. So they'd be much more sensitive to the real costs and not in the way we have it now. Let me give you even a bigger example.
Yeah.
The major reason why a tiny percent, the 1%, are as rich as they are is that they are mostly the major shareholders and the boards of directors of big companies. And here's something that'll come as a surprise to those who are watching. Those people take the profits that everybody in the workplace helps to produce and give the lion's share, here comes the surprise, to themselves, which is why they are this wealthy. And we shouldn't be surprised. We would probably do similar if we were in that situation. But let me tell you something. If you made all the workers democratically get together and decide how to distribute the wealth they've all together created, they would never give a handful of people more money than they know what to do with, while everybody else is worrying about sending their kid to college because they can't afford it. You'd have a change in the distribution of income and wealth that we like to talk about in the United States. But here's a concrete way to get that done, and the folks that run this society run away from it as fast as they can.